Gothenburg is the second largest city in Sweden and the fifth largest in the Nordic countries, situated by the Kattegat on the west coast of Sweden. The city proper has a population of 549,789, with 549,839 in the urban area and 982,360 inhabitants in the metropolitan area. Gothenburg was founded by royal charter in 1621 by King Gustavus Adolphus. At the mouth of the Göta älv, the Port of Gothenburg is the largest port in the Nordic countries. Gothenburg is home to many students, as the city includes both the University of Gothenburg and Chalmers University of Technology. Volvo was founded in Gothenburg in 1927. Gothenburg is served by Göteborg Landvetter Airport, located 30 kilometers southeast of the city center. The smaller Göteborg City Airport, located 15 kilometers from the city center, was closed to regular airline traffic in 2015. The city hosts some of the largest annual events in Scandinavia. The Gothenburg Film Festival, held in January since 1979, is the leading Scandinavian film festival with over 155,000 visitors each year. In summer, a wide variety of music festivals are held in the city, such as Way Out West and Metal Town. Name: the city was named after the Geats, the inhabitants of Gothia, now southern Sweden, i.e. Geat Castle. The river on which the city sits is the Göta älv, a Gothia river. Göteborg Gothia Fortress is the fort on the Göta älv, built to protect the port. In Dutch, Scots, and English, all being languages with a long history of being spoken in this trade and maritime-oriented city, the name Gothenburg is used for the city. The French form of the city name is Gothenburg, but in French texts, the Swedish name Göteborg is more frequent. Gothenburg can also be seen in some older English texts. In Spanish, the city is called Gotemburgo. These traditional forms are now sometimes replaced with the use of the Swedish Göteborg, for example by the Göteborg Opera and the Göteborg Ballet. However, Göteborgs Universitet, previously designated as the Göteborg University in English, changed its name to the University of Gothenburg in 2008. The Gothenburg municipality has also reverted to the use of the English name in international contexts. Other old variations in Swedish are Göteborg and the more common Göteborg. One English text, written in the late 15th century, states the name as Gothenburg. In 2009, the City Council launched a new logotype for Gothenburg. Since the name Göteborg contains the Swedish letter O, the idea was to make the name more international and up-to-date by turning the O sideways. As of 2015, the name is spelled Göteborg on a large number of signs in the city. History: in the early modern period, the configuration of Sweden's borders made Gothenburg strategically critical as the only Swedish gateway to the North Sea and Atlantic. Situated on the west coast in a very narrow strip of Swedish territory between Danish Halland in the south and Norwegian Bohuslän in the north. After several failed attempts, Gothenburg was successfully founded in 1621 by King Gustavus Adolphus. The site of the first church built in Gothenburg, subsequently destroyed by Danish invaders, is marked by a stone near the north end of the Alvsborg Bridge in the Fargenus Park. The church was built in 1603 and destroyed in 1611. The city was heavily influenced by the Dutch, Germans, and Scots, and Dutch planners and engineers were contracted to construct the city as they had the skills needed to drain and build in the marshy areas chosen for the city. The town was designed like Dutch cities such as Amsterdam, Batavia and New Amsterdam. The planning of the streets and canals of Gothenburg closely resembled that of Jakarta, which was built by the Dutch around the same time. The Dutchmen initially won political power, and it was not until 1652, when the last Dutch politician in the city's council died, that Swedes acquired political power over Gothenburg. During the Dutch period, the town followed Dutch town laws and Dutch was proposed as the official language in the town. Robust city walls were built during the 17th century. In 1807, a decision was made to tear down most of the city's wall. The work started in 1810, and was carried out by 150 soldiers from the Bohus regiment. Along with the Dutch, the town also was heavily influenced by Scots who settled down in Gothenburg. Many became people of high profile. William Chalmers, the son of a Scottish immigrant, donated his fortunes to set up what later became the Chalmers University of Technology. In 1841, the Scotsman Alexander Kaler founded the Göta shipbuilding company that was in business until 1989. His son James Kaler donated Kaler Park to the city in 1906. The Gothenburg coat of arms was based on the lion of the coat of arms of Sweden, symbolically holding a shield with the national emblem, the three crowns, to defend the city against its enemies. In the Treaty of Roskilde, Denmark-Norway ceded the then Danish province Halland in the south, and the Norwegian province of Bohus County Bohuslän in the north, leaving Gothenburg less exposed. Gothenburg was able to grow into a significant port and trade center on the west coast, because it was the only city on the west coast that, along with Marstrand, was granted the rights to trade with merchants from other countries. In the 18th century, fishing was the most important industry. However, in 1731, the Swedish East India Company was founded, and the city flourished due to its foreign trade with highly profitable commercial expeditions to China. The harbour developed into Sweden's main harbour for trade towards the west, and when Swedish emigration to the United States increased, Gothenburg became Sweden's main point of departure for these travelers. The impact of Gothenburg as a main port of embarkation for Swedish emigrants is reflected by Gothenburg, Nebraska, a small Swedish settlement in the United States. With the 19th century, Gothenburg evolved into a modern industrial city that continued on into the 20th century. The population increased tenfold in the century, from 13,000 to 130,000. In the 20th century, major companies that developed included SKF and Volvo. Geography. Gothenburg is located on the west coast in southwestern Sweden, about halfway between the capitals Copenhagen, Denmark, and Oslo, Norway. The location at the mouth of the Göta Älv, which feeds into Kattegat, an arm of the North Sea, has helped the city grow in significance as a trading city. The archipelago of Gothenburg consists of rough, barren rocks and cliffs, which also is typical for the coast of Bohuslän. Due to the Gulf Stream, the city has a mild climate and moderately heavy precipitation. It is the second largest city in Sweden after capital Stockholm. The Gothenburg metropolitan area has 816,931 inhabitants and extends to the municipalities of Ale, Alingsås, Göteborg, Härryda, Kungälv, Lerum, Lillhärad, Mölndal, Partille, Stenungsund, Tjörn, Oskari in Västra Götaland County, and Kungsbacka in Halland County. Angered, a suburb outside Gothenburg, consists of Hjällbo, Eriksbo, Rannebergen, Hammarkullen, Gadsden, and Lövgård. It is a million-program part of Gothenburg, like Rosengård in Malmö and Botkyrka in Stockholm. Angered had about 50,000 inhabitants in 2015. It lies north of Gothenburg and is isolated from the rest of the city. Bergsjön is another million-program suburb north of Gothenburg. It has 14,000 inhabitants. Biskopsgården is the biggest multicultural suburb on the island of Hisingen, which is a part of Gothenburg but separated from the city by the river. Climate: Gothenburg has an oceanic climate according to Köppen climate classification. Despite its northern latitude, temperatures are quite mild throughout the year and warmer than places in similar latitude, for example Stockholm, or even somewhat further south, mainly because of the moderating influence of the warm Gulf Stream. During the summer, daylight extends 18 hours and 5 minutes but lasts 6 hours and 32 minutes in late December. The climate has become significantly milder in latter decades, particularly in summer and winter. July temperatures used to be below Stockholm's 1961 to 1990 averages, but have since been warmer than that benchmark. Summers are warm and pleasant with average high temperatures of 19 to 20 degrees Celsius and lows of 10 to 12 degrees Celsius, but temperatures of 25 to 30 degrees Celsius occur on many days during the summer. Winters are cold and windy with temperatures of around -3 to 3 degrees Celsius, though it rarely drops below -15 degrees Celsius. Precipitation is regular but generally moderate throughout the year. Snow mainly occurs from December to March, but is not unusual in November and April and can sometimes occur even in October and May. In extreme cases even in September. Parks and nature: Gothenburg has several parks and nature reserves ranging in size from tens of square meters to hundreds of hectares. It also has many green areas that are not designated as parks or reserves. Selection of parks: Kungsparken, 13 hectares, built between 1839 and 1861, surrounds the canal that circles the city centre. Garden Society of Gothenburg, a park and horticultural garden, is located next to Kungsportshaven, founded in 1842 by the Swedish King Carl XIV Johan and on initiative of the amateur botanist Henrik Wigulf von Norman. The park has a noted rose garden with some 4,000 roses of 1,900 cultivars. Slottsskogen, Gothenburg's largest park, 137 hectares, was created in 1874 by August Kopp. It has a free, open zoo that includes harbor seals, penguins, horses, pigs, deer, moose, goats, and many birds. The Natural History Museum and the city's oldest observatory are located in the park. The annual Way Out West Festival is held in the park. Angutsbergens Natural Reservat, 320 hectares, was bought in 1840 by pharmacist Arvid Gren and donated in 1963 to the city by Sven and Carl Gren Broberg, who stated the area must remain a nature and bird reserve. It lies partly in Mölndal. Delsjumradets Naturreservat, about 760 hectares, has been in use since the 17th century as a farming area. Significant forest management was carried out in the late 19th century. Skaters Gym and Motion Centrum is situated here. Ryaskogs Naturreservat, 17 hectares, became a protected area in 1928. It contains remnants of a defensive wall built in the mid to late 17th century. Kailas Park was donated by James Kayler in 1906. He was the son of Scottish Alexander Kayler, who founded the Götaverken shipbuilding company. S.A. Headlands Park. Sven Adolf Hedlund, newspaper publisher and politician, bought the 15 hectares Buslat farm in 1857, and in 1928 it was given to the city. Hisingsparken is Gothenburg's biggest park. Flunsparken, built in 1950, has many free activities during the summer such as concerts and theatre. Gothenburg Botanical Garden, 175 hectares, opened in 1923. It won an award in 2003, and in 2006 was third in the Most Beautiful Garden in Europe competition. It has around 16,000 species of plants and trees. The greenhouses contain around 4,500 species, including 1,600 orchids. It is considered to be one of the most important botanical gardens in Europe, with 3 stars in the French Guide Rouge. Architecture. Very few houses are left from the 17th century when the city was founded, since all but the military and royal houses were built of wood. A rare exception is the Skansen-kronan. The first major architecturally interesting period is the 18th century, when the East India Company made Gothenburg an important trade city. Imposing stone houses in classical style were erected around the canals. One example from this period is the East India House, which today houses the Göteborg City Museum. In the 19th century, the wealthy bourgeoisie began to move outside the city walls which had protected the city. The style now was an eclectic, academic, somewhat over-decorated style which the middle class favored. The working class lived in the overcrowded city district Haga in wooden houses. In the 19th century, the first comprehensive town plan after the founding of city was created, which led to the construction of the main street, Kungsportshaven. Perhaps the most significant type of houses of the city, Landskövdenshusen, were built in the end of the 19th century, 3-story houses with the first floor in stone and the other 2 in wood. The early 20th century, characterized by the National Romantic style, was rich in architectural achievements. Masthug Church is a noted example of the style of this period. In the early 1920s, on the city's 300th anniversary, the Götaplatsen Square with its neoclassical look was built. After this, the predominant style in Gothenburg and rest of Sweden was functionalism, which especially dominated the suburbs such as Västra Frölunda and Bergsjön. The Swedish functionalist architect Uno Ahre served as city planner from 1932 through 1943. In the 1950s, the big stadium Ullevi was built when Sweden hosted the 1958 FIFA World Cup. The modern architecture of the city has been formed by such architects as Gert Wingård, who started as a postmodernist in the 1980s. Gustav Adolf Square is a town square located in central Gothenburg. Noted buildings on the square include Gothenburg City Hall and the Nordic Classicism Law Court. The main canal of Gothenburg also flanks the square. Characteristic buildings. The Gothenburg Central Station is in the center of the city, next to Nordstan and Drottningtorget. The building has been renovated and expanded numerous times since the grand opening in October 1858. In 2003, a major reconstruction was finished which brought the 19th century building into the 21st century, expanding the capacity for trains, tramways, and shopping. Not far from the central station is the Skanska Skrapan, or more commonly known as the Lipstick. It is 86 meters high with 22 floors and colored in red-white stripes. The skyscraper was designed by Ralph Erskine and built by Skanska in the late 1980s as the headquarters for the company. By the shore of the Göta älv at Lillebommen is the Göteborg Opera. It was completed in 1994. The architect Jan Izakowicz was inspired by the landscape and described his vision as something that makes your mind float over the squiggling landscape like the wings of a seagull. Fiskekårka or Fiskalen is an indoor fish market by the Rosenlandskanalen in central Gothenburg. Theskakåken was opened on 1 November 1874 and its name from the building's resemblance to a Gothic church. The Gothenburg City Hall is in the Beaux-Arts architectural style. The Gothenburg Synagogue at Stora Nygatan, near Drottningtorget, was built in 1855 according to the designs of the German architect August Kruger. The Garnebo House is a country house located to the south of Gothenburg, in Mölndal. It was built in a neoclassical architecture towards the end of the 18th century. Created in the early 1900s, was the Vasa Church. It is located in Vasastan and is built of granite in a neo-Romanesque style. Another noted construction is Broderie Moss and TV Tower, one of the few partially guyed towers in the world. Culture. The sea, trade, and industrial history of the city is evident in the cultural life of Gothenburg. It is also a popular destination for tourists on the Swedish west coast. Museums. Many of the cultural institutions, as well as hospitals and the university, were created by donations from rich merchants and industrialists. For example, the Röhsska Museum. On 29 December 2004, the Museum of World Culture opened near Korsvägen. Museums include the Gothenburg Museum of Art, and several museums of sea and navigation history, natural history, the sciences, and East India. Aeroseum, close to the Göteborg City Airport, is an aircraft museum in a former military underground Air Force base. The Volvo Museum has exhibits of the history of Volvo and the development from 1927 until today. Products shown include cars, trucks, marine engines, and buses. The Universium is a public science center that opened in 2001, the largest of its kind in Scandinavia. It is divided into 6 sections, each containing experimental workshops and a collection of reptiles, fish, and insects. The Universium occasionally hosts debates between Swedish secondary school students and Nobel Prize laureates or other scholars. Leisure and entertainment. The most noted attraction is the amusement park Liseberg, located in the central part of the city. It is the largest amusement park in Scandinavia by number of rides, and was chosen as one of the top 10 amusement parks in the world by Forbes. It is the most popular attraction in Sweden by number of visitors per year. There are a number of independent theatre ensembles in the city, besides institutions such as Gothenburg City Theatre, Backa Theatre, and Folkteatern. The main boulevard is called Kungsportsvägen. It is about 1 kilometer long and starts at Götaplatsen, which is the location of the Gothenburg Museum of Art, the city's theatre, and the city library, as well as the concert hall, and stretches all the way to Kungsportsplatsen in the old city centre of Gothenburg, crossing a canal and a small park. The Avenyn was created in the 1860s and 1870s as a result of an international architecture contest, and is the product of a period of extensive town planning and remodeling. Avenyn has Gothenburg's highest concentration of pubs and clubs. Sweden's largest shopping centre, Nordstan, is located in central Gothenburg. Gothenburg's Haga district is known for its picturesque wooden houses and its cafe serving the well-known Hagabull, a large cinnamon roll, similar to the Kanelbull. 5 Gothenburg restaurants have a star in the 2008 Michelin Guide. 28 plus Basement, Fond, Kokonamp, Van, Fiskekrigen, and Siomagasanet. The city has a number of star chefs. Over the past decade, 7 of the Swedish Chef of the Year awards have been won by people from Gothenburg. The Gustavus Adolphus pastry, eaten every 6th of November in Sweden. Gustavus Adolphus Day is especially connected to and appreciated in Gothenburg because the city was founded by King Gustavus Adolphus. One of Gothenburg's most popular natural tourist attractions is the southern Gothenburg archipelago, which is a set of several islands that can be reached by ferry boats mainly operating from Saltholmen. Within the archipelago are the Älvsborg Fortress, Vinga and Stizo Islands. Festivals and fairs. The annual Gothenburg Film Festival is the largest film festival in Scandinavia. The Gothenburg Book Fair, held each year in September. The International Science Festival in Gothenburg is an annual festival since April 1997, in central Gothenburg with thought-provoking science activities for the public. The festival is visited by about 100,000 people each year. This makes it the largest popular science event in Sweden and one of the leading popular science events in Europe. Citing the financial crisis, the International Federation of Library Associations and Institutions moved the 2010 World Library and Information Congress, previously to be held in Brisbane, Australia, to Gothenburg. The event took place on 10 to 15 August 2010. Music. Gothenburg has a diverse music community. The Gothenburg Symphony Orchestra is the best known in classical music. Gothenburg also was the birthplace of the Swedish composer Kurt Atterberg. The first internationally successfully Swedish instrumental rock group, the Spotniks, came from Gothenburg. Bands such as the soundtrack of Our Lives and Ace of Base are well-known pop representatives of the city. There is also an active indie scene in Gothenburg. For example, the musician Jens Lekman was born in the suburb of Angered and named his 2007 release Night Falls Over Kortedala after another suburb, Kortedala. Other internationally acclaimed indie artists include the electro-pop duos Studio, The Knife, Air France, The Tough Alliance, songwriter Jose Gonzalez, and pop singer El Perro del Mar, as well as genre-bending quartet Little Dragon fronted by vocalist Yukimi Nagano. Another son of the city is one of Sweden's most popular singers, Håkan Hellström, who often includes many places from the city in his songs. The glam rock group Supergroupies derives from Gothenburg. Gothenburg's own commercially successful At the Gates, In Flames, and Dark Tranquillity are credited with pioneering melodic death metal. Other well-known bands of the Gothenburg scene of thrash metal band The Haunted, progressive power metal band Evergreen, and power metal bands Hammerfall and Dream Evil. Many music festivals take place in the city every year. The Metaltown Festival is a two-day festival featuring heavy metal music bands, held in Gothenburg. It has been arranged annually since 2004, taking place at the Frihamnen venue. In June 2012, the festival included bands such as In Flames, Marilyn Manson, Slayer, Lamb of God, and Mastodon. Another popular festival, Way Out West, focuses more on rock, electronic, and hip-hop genres. The 3D animated anthropomorphic blue frog known as Crazy Frog originally hails from Gothenburg. The Eurodance act marketed to children gained some brief success on several international music charts in the mid-2000s. Sports. As in all of Sweden, a variety of sports are followed, including football, ice hockey, basketball, handball, baseball, and figure skating. A varied amateur and professional sports clubs scene exists. Gothenburg is the birthplace of football in Sweden, as the first football match in Sweden was played there in 1892. The city's three major football clubs, IFK Göteborg, Örgryte and GAIS, share a total of 34 Swedish championships between them. IFK has also won the UEFA Cup twice. Other notable clubs include BK Häcken, Pixbo Wallenstam IBK, multiple national handball champion Redberg Slids IK, and three-time national ice hockey champion Frölunda HC. Gothenburg had a professional basketball team, Gothia Basket, until 2010 when it ceased. The bandy department of GAIS Bandy played the first season in the highest division Elitserien last season. The group stage match between the main rivals Sweden and Russia in the 2013 Bandy World Championship was played at area.Heden in central Gothenburg. The city's most notable sports venues are Scandinavium and Ullevi and the newly built Gamla Ullevi. The 2003 World Allround Speed Skating Championships were held in Rudalen, Sweden's only indoor speed skating arena. It is a part of Rudalen's IP, which also has a bandy field and several football fields. The only Swedish heavyweight champion of the world in boxing, Ingemar Johansson, who took the title from Floyd Patterson in 1959, was from Gothenburg. Gothenburg has hosted a number of international sporting events including the 1958 FIFA World Cup, the 1983 European Cup Winners' Cup Final, an NFL preseason game on the 14th of August 1988 between the Chicago Bears and the Minnesota Vikings, the 1992 European Football Championship, the 1993 and the 2002 World Men's Handball Championship, the 1995 World Championships in Athletics, the 1997 World Championships in Swimming, the 2002 Ice Hockey World Championships, the 2004 UEFA Cup Final, the 2006 European Championships in Athletics, and the 2008 World Figure Skating Championships. Annual events held in the city of the Gothia Cup and the Göteborgsvarvet. The annual Gothia Cup is the world's largest football tournament with regards to the number of participants. In 2011, a total of 35,200 players from 1,567 teams and 72 nations participated. Gothenburg hosted the 13 FINA World Masters Championships in 2010. Diving, swimming, synchronized swimming and open water competitions were held on the 28th of July to the 7th of August. The water polo events were played on the neighboring city of Borås. Gothenburg is also home to the Gothenburg Sharks, a professional baseball team in the Elitserien division of baseball in Sweden. With around 25,000 sailboats and yachts scattered about the city, sailing is a popular sports activity in the region, particularly because of the nearby Gothenburg archipelago. In June 2015, the Volvo Ocean Race, professional sailing's leading crewed offshore race, concluded in Gothenburg, as well as an event in the 2015-2016 America's Cup World Series in August 2015.